Yeah. Obviously, we're excited about playing. Utah State, well-coached team. Great experience, even though they don't have a great deal of experience together, which kind of shows on just their ability to come together in a short amount of time in a year with nobody that scored for them last year, played for them last year. I think one guy set out for them. But Coach Sprinkle and his staff have done a fabulous job with this team, but they do have experience. They have guys that have been in college 4, 5, 6 years, know how to play. They have a fabulous point guard. They have a great front line. They have skill. We have a couple guys. Ian Martinez played at Maryland, so we're familiar with him, but he looks really good on tape. But just the balance of being able to defend, being able to offensively play through their post, but also play through their point guard, get out in transition, execute their sets. They're just a well-oiled machine. They have a really, really good team. They've had a great year, and this is going to be a tough challenge for us.
Questions, please. Right here, Zach.
Zach Osterman, Indianapolis Star. Matt, I guess sort of a more philosophical question, but what's changed about games like this? They may be on the extreme end, but when teams can turn over so much in a year, and maybe you really do just have 1 year's worth of tape. I recognize they're kind of an extreme case with the portal and roster churn.
Yeah, they're definitely, I would say they're an outlier, for a team not to have any individual on their team from the previous year. The thing that I think the caveat for that is Danny does have 2 of his players from his previous school that's played for him, and they happen to be 2 of his better players. So I think, and the positions that are really hard to get, a quality point guard, the guy that can run your team and make a play, especially at the end of clocks, and then a great big that can pass the basketball. Their big reminds me of Travion Williams, just was his ability to wheel and deal and pass the basketball. Just a really, really good player. But yeah, that's today's landscape, right? I think that's going to continue unless some things change within our guidelines. But coaches that can do what Danny's been able to do are the ones that are going to flourish, because I think we could end up being an outlier too for how we operate, because we don't operate any differently, because we only play in the portal a little bit here or there. So I don't think we'll take anybody this year. So we've taken 2 guys now, if you count the following year, in 4 years. So we've had the fewest amount of guys of any high major school in the country in the last 4 years. So I think it does come and find us at some point, because you can't control all of that. But I think you just have to have a pulse on your situation and a pulse on that particular year, because you have to be able to do it both ways, in my opinion. I don't think you can keep doing that every single year. There has to be some growth, from year to year. You just want that as a coach, right? You have experience, but you also want experience of being successful together.
Jason Walker with CatchPhillyDaily.com. Coach, I know you've seen probably every tactic under the sun as far as teams trying to stop or play around Zach Edey, but I don't need you to go through your whole game plan. What are you expecting kind of this matchup with how you expect Utah State to play Zach in this one?
Yeah, well, there's 2 things that can happen. You can watch who they've doubled, even though there's not guys like him in their league. There's some guys in their league that have an All-American in their league that's 6'8", 6'9", who's a different type of a player. So you can watch them, how they've dealt with low-post players, even though the game doesn't present that as much as it used to, say, 10, 15 years ago. And then you also have to be, the expectation has to be, there could be something they've never shown before. And I know it's a, quick turnaround, but they weren't preparing for Purdue going into the TCU game. You know what I mean? They're preparing for TCU. So now they've got 48 hours. So you look at what they do, and this is how you handle any opponent. You see what they do, you think that's what they're going to do, but you also prepare, which we just did, for a lot of different things. So we have a series, you can double from the top, you can double from the bottom, you can cover down ball side, you can come traditional, you can wait till he dribbles and scrapes, you can stay one-on-one. If you got something else, then you're better than I am. That's about it, right? So it really comes down to decision-making on his part, and then our guys getting where they're supposed to be. So, we have rules to what we do, just like they have rules to doubles. The doubles come, and then you can set it up differently, so the rotations change. and now they have to be able to, the guys that are really good at doubling the post or playing there, they give a great effort first of all. They're quick with their doubles, they're aggressive, they don't foul, and then they set their rotation and they know what they're doing. So that's why we try to change up things and mix things up so the rotations are a little bit different. But that's about it, you know, when it comes down to it. But for us, it's taking care of the basketball and him getting the ball where he needs to get it. And when we take care of the basketball and we keep getting quality shots, we really help ourselves.
Matt, Pat Forty from Sports Illustrated. Kind of a general question here, but you were a shooter in your day. You've got a lot of really good shooters. How important is it for guys to shoot a lot of shots? Do good shooters need to shoot a lot of shots between games?
I think, you know, just getting a dose in the environment they shoot at. Like sometimes guys, you know, that's their, you know, kind of their religion, right? They want to shoot every single day. If you find a good shooter, you know, he just doesn't go and get extra shots when he misses. He gets extra shots no matter what. You know, that's what made him great. That's what continues to keep him at that level and that consistency. But each guy has a little bit of a different feel. Each guy has a little bit different rhythm. You know, for us, you know, like Zach likes to do 10 minutes after everything is over with. He likes to do a series of jump hooks. Left side, right side, in the middle, off the glass, straight on. So that's his routine. Even though we just did something for an hour and 10 minutes or whatever, you know, that's his routine. But to me, I think it's twofold now because we play, which to me is just crazy. We play with probably 6 different basketballs during the course of the year. So I think that piece is important. If you can get the basketball that your opponents are using, obviously you're always practicing with the ones that you use. So we use a Nike ball. And so, but then sometimes when you go to other places, they use different basketballs. So like we have those in storage. So when we got 3 days to practice before an away game or a neutral site game, we use those basketballs. So I think that it used to be like, you know, check the floors. Coach Katie used to always tell you to check the dead spots. And I don't know if there's any more dead spots, but dribble the floor, check the dead spots, check the rims, shoot, you know, just to get familiar.
Right here.
Coach Scott Gerard with the Zone in Salt Lake City. I wanted to circle back on what you were talking about in terms of the portal and you feeling pretty comfortable that your roster is secure going into next year, not having to hit the portal. What is it about Purdue that you've built there, culture-wise, that makes guys want to stay, even if maybe they're not getting the playing time that they want and look for greener pastures somewhere else? What have you built that maintains that stability?
Yeah, well, I think it starts with education and people. I think we have great people at our place. We have great education. And then I think we've done a better job in the last 8-10 years of evaluating. I think everybody puts a big emphasis on recruiting and, you know, I think if you go and evaluate the people that want to be at Purdue, that education is important, and just having just a level of discipline. So when you like, okay, I'm going to leave Purdue, well, then you're not going to get your education at Purdue. Like, you know, you're going to be a former player for 50 years. I mean, keep shit in perspective. Like, you know what I mean? But it's really hard to have perspective when you're 20. You didn't have it. I didn't have it. None of us have it. We all are looking at like, where can I play? What kind of style of play? Why can't I shoot more? Why can't I do this? And then put a big emphasis on winning. Like, are you coming to Purdue to shoot, or are you coming to Purdue to win? Like, right now, like, we have some guys on our team that don't play as much as they did before, and it bothers them, and it should bother them. But it's not a distraction, because winning supersedes that. And that's what you're looking for. I don't want them to be, you know, I don't want them to be happy in terms of their own situation, but I want them to be happy for their teammates. I want them to understand the big picture. I want them to understand that we just won 2 Big Ten championships. We've been back-to-back #1 seeds. Like, you're putting yourself in a great position. But it starts in the evaluation. It starts in, you know, because when you sign somebody, you just don't get them. You get them all. So you get Uncle Billy, you know, you get Cousin Jed. You get them all. Like, they're all coming. You're going to hear it. Like, you hear it from everybody, right? So you might as well do the right thing. Because no matter what you do, I always tell coaches, when we talk about stuff, no matter what you do, someone's going to be mad. You know, my wife and I, we have 5 kids between us. Like, no matter what we do, somebody's pissed. Like, you might as well make the right decision, right? So, but make the right decision in recruiting. Like, make the right decision with that person, and then don't take him and be like, oh man, he's going to be a handful. This is going to be tough. Don't take him then. It's not a school district. You know, take the guys that fit your program. And if you're a little bit shorthanded and you're not as athletic or whatever, who cares, right? Who cares? Let's just play basketball and take care of it. And, it's not that big a deal, but know who you can coach and know who you can't coach. And more than anything, know who you can get to. Like I got a lot of second and third place ribbons in my garage. And I had no chance of getting them. No chance. But then after a while, just understand that, just get out of that race. Just save a year of your life and get out of that race and recruit people that want to, come to your school.
Yeah, Matt, Ben Baby from ESPN, kind of along the, right here.
Thank you.
Yeah, along those lines, the portal opens tomorrow. What are your thoughts on the timing of when that opens, and what how does that kind of impact roster construction, building, and has there been a lot of discussion amongst coaches, or just would you want it later on after the tournament to be over to kind of level things out?
Yeah, we're not in the position right now unless some people are going to leave our program, to really dive into it. So it just depends on your situation. A lot of if you're starting over, you're in a much different position than someone who's been at a school for 19 years. If you got guys leaving for the pros, or you got some guys that are unhappy, or, we got teams in our league that have been successful doing it. We have other teams in our league that are somewhere in the middle. Then we've had other guys, that kind of struggle. If you can take somebody, like Lance Jones was about winning. He didn't say one thing about name, image, and likeness, even though he obviously gets money through name, image, and likeness. But he didn't say one thing in recruiting about that. So there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with him wanting that. But that can't supersede winning. A lot of times people in the portal, because they don't like their role, but they want to win, but they want to win playing shortstop and leading off, right? They want that, which there's nothing wrong with having that dream and wanting that. But I think it's easy for me to talk about your problems, but it's hard for me to talk about mine. I just look in the mirror and see something different than you see. You know what I mean? So each individual, but think how you are when you're 20. You were way worse when you were 20 than you are today, right? And that's where they are. So when I'm looking at somebody, or you're looking at those situations, if I bring in 8 people, what's the average of those 8 people going to be successful? 4? Right? Because I got 5 guys returning. You have 13 scholarships. So you're when you have a large number, you're going to take people, and you have to realize if you're coming in that kind of class, some of those guys aren't going to be successful. I don't like that piece of it. When I take somebody, I look at it, and not all of them have been successful. I want to say, here's our plan. Here's what we want to try to do. Now, he's got to go out and earn playing time. He's got to go out and earn these things. And I'm always going to do what's best for Purdue. But I want to think that I have a plan for their success. I mean, it eats at me when I got a couple guys that started for me last year that don't play. It kills me. But I have to do what's best for Purdue. I have a job, right? So when you look at all those things, those kids need to look at that. The people around those kids need to look at that and say, hey, I'm going to go and get some money. I'm going to go and do this. Your happiness is going to lie in winning or losing. If it doesn't lie in winning or losing, then you're not a competitor and you're not a real basketball player. Because that's how it is as a coach. All these coaches are now moving, and the money is extreme. And I know this, if you can go somewhere and make a bunch of money and you lose, you're going to be miserable. You are miserable. And if you go and you don't make as much and you win, you're going to be happy. So everybody needs to take a step back and understand their own happiness, whether you're a player or you're a coach, and make their decisions through that. Because I'd rather play 15 minutes and win a bunch of games than play 30 minutes and get our brains beat in, right? I'd rather do that. And then at the end of the day, I did this and I didn't get the education I could have gotten at this other school. That doesn't make sense.
Right here.
Jack Johnson, the Utah Statesman. Tomorrow, you guys, by all probability, are most likely going to win. You guys have all the favor. If you're looking at the stats and whatnot, the history behind the matchup between you two, what's your mentality going into the game, and what are you telling your players?
All right, let me explain something to you. Everybody in the NCAA tournament is really good. Now when you go to that 32, everybody is that much better. They're a really, really good basketball team. They are well coached. This is going to be a dogfight, all right? It's going to be a dogfight. So we've had a lot of experience here, all right, and we've had some disappointing days. There's no way we are looking past these guys. These guys are real. If you watch that game from TCU, TCU is tough. They're hard-nosed. They're well-coached. They got big-time players. TCU's got big-time players. They beat quality teams in the Big 12. All right? They handled them. So we know this is going to be really difficult. They have a great point guard. They have a great big. And they got a bunch of other dudes that can really, really play. And like I said before, Danny Sprinkle is as good of a young coach or any coach at any age as there is in the country. Very few people can do what Danny Sprinkle just did. Very few. All right? He has nobody that played for him last year. Like, you go watch us run stuff and do stuff. I mean, I got a bunch of guys that played for us. Everybody is on the same page. We get it. Like, we get it. How the hell do they get it? And they've been working since June like that. It's because they got a great coach.
Coach, Johnny Hill was an assistant for you, was a player for you at
Right.
Utah State, now an assistant at Utah State. Danny Sprinkle joked that he's keeping him out of meetings because he doesn't want you to leak. He doesn't want him to leak anything to you. Just give us your memories of him as a player and what he meant to your program when he played for you.
Yeah, he was fabulous. He was a grad transfer. He didn't start for us. I think he started 3 games for us. He backed up P.J. Thompson. He practiced hard every single day. Every single day he practiced hard. He had a great attitude. It was infectious. You know, he came every single day and laid it on the line and helped us win. He sacrificed to help us win, and that's what it's all about, man. He was great, and I've tried to, at every stop, tried to help him, you know, in his coaching career. I tried to stop him from coaching, you know, because that's what a true friend does. But no, I'm happy for him. You know, he's with a really, really good guy, and he's growing in the business, and you know, I wish him all the success in the world.
Questions for Coach Painter?
Thank you.